So over the past few years, I've changed my strategy. I've been adding certain things in, I've been taking certain things out. And what I see many people do when they are learning to trade is they focus so much on the entries and the exits, but they need to also focus on the management side of trading. Because what happens when you are managing a trade, in some cases, is more important than when you enter the trade. So if you enter a trade and you're in the trade, that trade is going to go up or down. But the management aspect of trading, people neglect. They don't realize the importance of what you do during that trade can change the result massively of your monthly profitability and your yearly profitability. The main reason why people get it wrong in the live markets is because they don't have a plan on what to do in the live markets. They go through their backtesting, they just click through the candles and just wait to see what happens. But then when it's the live markets and the candles are moving in real time, 15-minute candle actually takes 15 minutes and not a 1 second click on your mouse, it is a lot more difficult for them to manage their emotions for the average trader. So they make emotional decisions which can lead to losses long term. And I'm going to give you some examples today on certain different management decisions that people make and alternatives to what you could do instead. So we're going to start with something that I never do, but I'm going to give you the reasons why some people might want to do it. And this is moving your stop loss to break even. So if we're on the charts here, and we're going to go back to yesterday. So we have a good example of this. So my normal strategy, price break structure, retest in, and let's say I got the entry here with a 1 to 3 risk to reward. This is great. So many people, what they would do is, let's say price goes in our favor, and we play price on, and as you see, it goes down and up here. So price is now broken structure to the upside. A lot of times people will say, okay, now we've broken to the upside, I'm going to move my stop loss to break even. What is actually going on in the markets to give you a reason to move your stop loss to break even? The way I see it is people are scared to lose any profits they're actually in. And over time, you can calculate the difference between moving your stop loss to break even and also just letting your trades run, stop loss to take profit. Something that I do, which is slightly different to some people, I won't move my stop loss to break even. However, if price now breaks this low with a close below, I will close the trade. So I'm happy taking a small loss or even closing some trades in profits if it does go and break structure whilst we're actually in profit still. I'd rather that than the trade coming down, hitting the stop loss for break even and then rallying up to the take profit. And I've done the numbers behind this for my strategy, and it's more profitable for me to hold no matter what. Obviously, apart from the invalidations, but in my opinion, it is the best way to go about your trading. So if we actually play price on now and see what happens in this situation, because many people judge it off one trade that's actually happened for them. So perhaps like this trade here, price has gone up, they're in profit, maybe 2% in profit, and they don't want to lose that 2%. They don't want to have a full loss. So what they do is they move their stop loss to break even, so it's risk free. Now nothing bad can happen on this trade. But if you think about it, if that trade now goes to break even, you have still lost your 2% in profit. That 2% is gone. You're obviously avoiding taking a loss, but you've still lost your 2%. I think there was news, so it's a pretty bad example, but you can see here, that would have been taken out for break even. And this one, obviously I would have closed on the next candle here in a slight loss. So this would be a good point for moving a stop loss to break even because you would have stopped a potential loss. But this doesn't matter on one single trade. You could say, oh, well, price didn't go to 1 to 3, so I can just close it at 1.5 on one trade example. You have to look over your whole trading, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of data, and see if it actually makes a huge difference or not. And you also have to see if it makes a difference to your overall drawdown, because that is something else that is very important. If I can reduce my drawdown while still remaining a good level of profitability, let's say I have a strategy that has a 5% max drawdown and a 15% return, but now I'm able to get my max drawdown down to 2%. Obviously, that's a lot lower, but as a result of this, my gain has gone down to 10%. Obviously, I'm now losing out on 5% profit. But if you multiply the drawdown, so 2 turned into 5 is 150% increase or 1.5% increase. Then you do that with your profits too. You're making a lot more profit overall compared to the 5 and 15. You now have 5 and 25. So you're making a lot more profit just by reducing your drawdown if you multiply the risk to the same level. So the way that some people get it wrong, and I'm going to give you an example here. So let's say price is going up, you're doing this and you buy. So we're going to buy here. Obviously there's no actual candles, but then price goes to the upside, broken to the upside like this, and now you're holding out for take profit. But at this point we've had multiple wick rejections near the take profit. So the interesting thing about this is the only time where I would say it is acceptable to close that trade slightly early for most people. The reason it's not okay for certain people is because they'll get in the habit of closing the trade early, and you don't want to do that. And then perhaps next time it will stop 5 pips short instead of 1 pip short, and you'll be like, oh, well, that previous time when I closed 1 pip short, it then dropped and wouldn't have hit my take profit. So then you do the same again. If you're someone that can't have solid discipline in your trading, then you shouldn't break any rules ever. But perhaps a rule where if price is within a pip of your take profit and it's rejected 2 or 3 times, you can close that trade. Because you need to think about this. I've said it in previous videos that if you close early on one trade and you do that over and over again, it adds up. But you have to think about the cost of not doing that. Let's say this is 1 pip for this example. So we're 1 pip away and we have a 30 pip take profit target and we have a 10 pip loss. So now what's happening is if I'm holding out for this extra 1 pip, I'm now risking all of this for 1 pip. So the risk reward is now gone from a 1 to 3 to this. So that is technically now your risk reward because you're risking all of this for this. And I know this won't make sense for some people because technically as the trade's going on, your risk reward is moving like this, and that is okay. But in this situation, when you are holding out for something, even though it's giving you signs that it's not going to hit, get out the trade. Very simple, get out the trade. And this is a management decision that I have made previously, and I won't do it if it's 5 pips away, 10 pips away, and it's done something like this instead, like this. That's fine because there's no invalidation there. It hasn't even come close to my take profit. And you could say, oh, well, you're still risking more than you're going to gain, but that is always happening. But when it's this much of a difference, it's obviously quite major. And the best thing for you to do in your trading right now is to go back and test. If you have all your trades journaled and perhaps you have screenshots of your trades, perhaps you go through all your losses. Did this loss come within 2 pips of my entry and then hit stop loss? If that's never happened, then you don't have to worry about it. But if that's happened quite regularly in your trading and you can go back and look and see that it's actually happened, then perhaps you need to change something. Or perhaps you've noticed that a lot of your trades that have actually won have actually come back to retest your entry. So then you're not going to blindly follow people that are telling you to move your stop loss to break even. If on an average trade like this one, price comes up, break structure, but then retest your entry again. If this happens quite a lot in your trading, then go to take profit, then you're not the type of trader that moving your stop loss to break even would actually help. The type of people that it would actually help are people that go in profit and then, let's say like this, and then it goes down to break even and then to a loss. But if you have it a lot of times, especially with a high risk reward, you need to have it very few times to actually be profitable. Goes down like this, retest your entry, then goes up. Again, that's completely fine to hold to the take profit. So that is something that I would always think about when I'm managing trades. Have I got the data to back up the decision I'm about to make? If not, I just hold the trade like normal. But if price does this, goes up like this, we create the low, and then price comes down and breaks the low here, then I'm going to be out of the trade. Because I have done my research, I've done the data collection to prove to myself that holding this trade is now a stupid decision. And more times than not, this is going to lose. So I know based on the data, I'm better off not holding this trade than I am holding it. And that's something you need to know for every decision you're about to make. Is this a profitable decision or not? If it's not a profitable decision, do not do it. It doesn't matter what you're seeing in the markets. It doesn't matter what's happening in your mind. It doesn't matter what someone else is thinking. It doesn't matter at all. If you don't have the data, do not make that decision. Do not pull the trigger on something you don't have data to back up. And that is what I want to reiterate over and over again in my videos so you get the point. Data over everything, and especially data over your emotions. So I hope this video helped. If you did enjoy, like the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.